Hello, Johnny Long here with another advert for you. Now just be thankful I'm not trying to sell you ketones or subscriptions to some mental health app. Anyway, the reason I'm not here selling you any of that stuff is because I've got something much better and much cheaper, which actually helps us keep those sorts of ads at bay. We're running our $1 promotion again during this Tour de France, which means you can sign up for just $1 or £1 or €1 and access all of our articles and member-only podcasts for a month. Support independent cycling journalism. Ensure these are the only sorts of ads you hear on our podcast or see on our site. Join the movement in this little corner of the internet. Come on. You're presumably listening to this podcast of your own free will, maybe even enjoying it. Let's dare to hope. I understand if you've been on the fence about signing up for yet another subscription. So what we're trying to do is tease you into it, lure you, and once you're in and you're all warm and nice, you'll never want to leave. That's the name of this capitalist game. Don't resist it. Come on home. So visit escapecollective.com/TDF to take up this special limited time offer. $1, escapecollective.com/TDF. What else can you actually buy for $1 these days? With inflation, that dollar is just going to keep becoming worth less and less, so you might as well spend it now.
Welcome back to the Escape Collective Tour Daily Podcast, everybody. I'm Caley Fretz. We are outside. Where are we? We're outside the Alpecin de Koning bus. Stage 6 has just wrapped up. Johnny Long, who just won the stage?
Dylan Groenewegen won the stage with a sprint, just edged out Jasper Philipsen with the green jersey being my third. Mark Cavendish is just about to come past, as is Wout van Aert. I think Wout van Aert might have got a top 10, not sure. There is Mark Cavendish goes past. You've already got the Daniel Freeb and other TV cameras running after him. Yeah, pretty ordinary day on the tour. There goes Tom Squinch riding past. Yeah.
Classic sprint finish. We thought for a second that Alexander Kristoff was rolling back time. We thought we might have a Cav-Kristoff face-off. 2016 all over again.
Yeah, for sure. They had like 4 riders in the front, and the first guy of the 4 seemed to pull for like a kilometre. Super long pull. Don't know what's going on there. He's obviously going well. Riders still coming in. We've got Lawrence de Plus and Geraint Thomas having a good old chuckle. Don't know what about. Tom Pidcock was just in front of them, absolutely flying past all these fans, so he was kind of asking for trouble. Alpecin de Koning arriving back now, looking quite morose. I don't know who this is. Might be Jonas Rickart. He's greeting his wife and child, but he is not happy.
We were wondering whose child that was, because the child was being held by Mathieu van der Poel's mother.
That's nice, though. So I'm pretty sure it's Jonas Rickart. We will correct this soon.
We have an extensive corrections corner already slated for this episode.
But as soon as he was looking very upset, and then he held his child in his hands, and he just started smiling. And if that doesn't warm your heart, then literally nothing will. I'm going to quickly go find out who he is. I'm going to look at his bike. Nailed it. My knowledge of Alpecin de Koning domestiques is unparalleled. That was Jonas Rickart and his family. The inquest is already starting. Number 103, Robbie Hees, I think you pronounce it, has arrived back. He's talking Sporza.
Well, so the funny that we're hanging out with some of our Belgian, right? Belgian colleagues, and we were sort of talking about who we wanted to win today, and they were saying that it's a story either way for them, because basically, let's be honest, we were kind of hoping for a quieter afternoon after yesterday, and they were feeling the same way, and they were saying, well, unfortunately for us, it's a story whether Philipsen wins or loses, as we are now seeing.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, he won the green jersey in 4 stages last year, so he's like one of the best dudes, and you got Mathieu van der Poel in you out as well, and it's tough for them because they've got to come back and answer questions directly after trying really hard and not succeeding. And that's the thing about bunch sprint. It's like it's not always the best sprint who's going to win. There's so many different factors to it. So, yeah, I mean, Robbie Geese seems to be handling it okay. He doesn't seem to mind that much. He's breathing very heavily still.
They come back here and basically the questions are, so how'd you mess that one up?
Yeah, it's not nice. What was that on the... we were listening to another podcast there, and they liken it to... saying, well, how was the rest of the theatre performance, Mrs. Lincoln? Which kind of is what happens here as well.
A now recurring theme, Johnny, is the I don't know, resurgence.
Renaissance, you may say, at this Tour de France.
The renaissance of old sprinters. So in fourth place today, Gaviria, after a pretty solid run in the last couple days as well.
And then in eighth, we've got Arnaud Demar. Another throwback, kind of, going into the sort of 2016 Tour de France sprint vibes. And then Alexander Kristoff was after him in ninth. Even a bit of a Brian Cockard in 12th. I mean, what more do you want? Time is a flat circle.
All right, there's delete. You were saying 7.5 pounds of sausage in an 8-pound sack. That's still 9 pounds of sausage in an 8-pound sack. I'm sorry.
You think? I mean, before he was literally like bursting out of his skin suit. I think there he's looking muscly, but he's not like...
Maybe his skin suit just fits better.
Maybe. Lot of Destiny, well, they've got to put all their eggs in the delete basket now, so... And he's getting there. Where was he today? 6th. I mean, Tour de France sprint is a different kettle of fish. It's difficult to do.
He was my pick in fantasy, which obviously means that he was not going to do particularly well. I managed to pick Mats Pedersen the day he crashed. I picked Philipsen the one day he hasn't contested. It's just how I've been going so far this tour.
Mark Cavendish, 20th today. Are we going to save sort of some further analysis after sleeping on it of Mark Cavendish's sprint yesterday and some things we've heard today for when we head back to the bar and get a couple of frozen margaritas and maybe are joined by a special guest?
I think so. I think the analysis portion of this podcast will come a little bit later. We're standing here. We're on the sort of finish state. Continue to set the scene for me. What do we see when we every day at the finish line here?
What we see is riders get back off of the stage and immediately jump on the rollers. And the difference being, if they're going for the TT, which is tomorrow, for the past few days, they've been warming down on their TT setup. I'm actually writing an article about this. I spoke to a couple of coaches at various teams, and all the GC guys and sort of anyone who wants to try and perform in this time trial has been warming down to keep those muscles activated. I mean, I'm just scooping myself the article here, but there'll be more details there from actual people who know what they're talking about. So it's basically everyone warming down. You have the journalists piling in, sort of asking questions. You got fans running around asking for bottles. The team cars are coming past, trying not to run anyone over. It's a lot of action, really. You can kind of just stand in a place and just watch everything happen around you. It's it's not quite watching the stage, but it's a close second.
Top tip, if you are going to come watch the Tour de France, if you come see the Tour de France, this is a pretty cool place to be, right? It's cool to be over on the barriers, watch the riders go by at 1,000,000 miles an hour. But if you want to get close to the riders, this is actually where you want to be. Sometimes they close this off to non-accredited people, but most of the time, fully open, like today.
I'm gonna have to try and say this bit a bit more quietly because she's standing literally about a metre away. But one of our Belgian colleagues actually highlighted that Mathieu van der Poel's mother and Raymond Poulidor's daughter is standing right there. She's come for the stage finish today, as well as I imagine another number of the family. So that's something you don't see every day. Mathieu van der Poel's mum. She looks nice. She looks like a mum.
Just hanging out. All right, let's take a quick break here, and when we come back, hopefully we'll have an Iain Treloar with us, and we'll talk through the rest of the stage. Welcome back, everybody. It's been a couple hours. We are currently sitting in Place Notre-Dame in Dijon, and joining us for the first time this Tour de France, although you'll be on for the entire rest of the race, is Iain Treloar.
Oof. Boy, howdy.
Boy, howdy. Welcome, Iain.
Hi.
How was your trip in?
Long. Very long. I was up at 4:30 a.m. to catch a plane in Stavanger, which is in Norway. And then...
Where you were on a secret
creeping out
Kristoff-related mission, right?
Yeah, always.
Yeah.
Never not on a secret Kristoff-related mission. And I made my way here in small and steady. And yeah, I'm here now.
It's good to have you.
I did it.
We needed you yesterday.
We needed you for yesterday's episode. We were on the struggle bus, and now we're not.
Terrible town. Now
We've
we're in a
gotten off of it.
town.
Now we're in a beautiful town.
We've had a delicious...
We're in this lovely square with a big church.
We're at such a nice restaurant. Not like nice and fancy, but just like proper French bistro that I actually feel bad for podcasting next to people just trying to enjoy their dinner.
Yeah.
But they're eating snails.
They are eating snails, as they are loath to do.
No, that they love doing.
Oh, no, they love doing it. Well,
They are loath to do it.
No, I don't think they enjoy doing anything, really. Do you not remember that stat in lockdown where French people became happier?
What?
Yeah. French people were happier in lockdown than out of it.
But
They
is
did
that
surveys.
correlated to not eating snails?
Probably.
So they're
'Cause
forced.
I reckon that
they're forced to eat snails the rest of the time.
I reckon if you go into a little supermarché
yeah.
in France, apologies to the elderly, probably snail-eating people that just walk past us, but if you go into a little supermarché, I reckon you can probably go into the freezer section and buy some snails.
Yeah, I
And then
reckon.
heat them up at
Should
home.
we try to do this?
There's
Absolutely not.
before we talk about the race.
Yeah, we are going to do that. I
Yeah, we
promise.
are.
Yeah.
Can I talk about the hate crime on the menu of the restaurant?
Yeah, absolutely.
Roast beef foie.
Le roast beef.
Roast beef foie.
You are a cold roast beef.
Yeah.
Well, as our resident roast beef,
Yeah.
you don't like that?
Come on. It's 2024.
I was quite excited to get that because that was one of the few words that I understood.
Yeah.
But the foie was the thing that tripped me
Yeah, you
up.
thought it meant fried. Would have been a nasty.
You're
would have been
absolutely right.
Would have been a bit of a nasty shock for him when he found out.
I thought
What's
it
that
was
from?
fried, and I thought there were frites, and I thought there was mayonnaise, and I thought there was roast beef.
Nope.
But
None of that. Roast beef foie is cold.
Well,
cold roast beef.
before we get to the bike race,
Yeah.
just want to say, Caley, happy Independence Day.
Oh, thank you. Thank you.
We
Are
will be ending the podcast with a celebration of America.
I think we're going to sing.
We are going to sing.
Are we going to sing?
Yeah, I'm
Yeah.
going to sing.
There's a more important thing.
Day.
It's a bigger day.
Ian,
for a
can
different
you
reason.
guess what other day
What
could
other
possibly
day it
be
is?
today?
The big old Dylan Groenewegen sprint win
yeah,
day.
spoilers.
No. No, today is national. I don't know if it's
No,
international.
it's the 100th anniversary.
It's at the very least, national Caesar salad invention day.
It's 100 years.
100 years old today.
Until
In what
Yeah.
nation?
Well,
the
in my
world.
nation, in the nation where
Is the Caesar salad an American salad?
sure.
It does seem
Is
quite
it?
You know,
saucy.
you guys know me. I just assume that we invented everything.
you do. That's actually the most American thing about you. There's not many American things about you, but that is one
No,
of them.
no. The most American thing about Caley is when you get to start talking about the defense budget.
Yeah, that's true. Actually, yeah,
That's
true.
a deeply
that does
American
that
moment.
does worry me slightly.
Maybe,
Anyway,
maybe we'll leave that for after dark. We'll,
Yeah, I
leave,
think
we'll leave
so.
a quick defense budget chat for after
Yeah.
dark. Okay.
Yeah.
Should we do bike race now that we've moved
talking of
past Caesar
defense
salad?
budgets,
We've moved.
Jake Koilula's Dylan Groenewegen on the stage.
Good transition,
Thank
actually. Yeah, so Dylan Groenewegen won the stage. We talked about this a little bit in the intro that we did on the sort of the side of the road, waiting for the various riders to come by.
Mm-hmm.
The news since then is that Jasper Philipsen has been relegated.
Yeah.
And I think this is particularly interesting. And the reason why we wanted to sort of dig into it a little bit more is that he was relegated for a movement that was significantly less than his movement yesterday.
Indeed.
And also the movement of Mark Cavendish yesterday.
I mean, there was a bit of a deviation.
It was a massive deviation, and
Yeah.
Philipsen deviated like 15 feet as well.
And then Mads Pedersen did crash.
And then so
Fairly
Little
badly.
Trek, less than pleased by all of this. Mads Pedersen was, he was like 5 or 6 riders behind. So it's I think I said this in the episode yesterday. It was kind of hard to draw like a straight line
But he
between those
did
two
crash
things.
and hurt himself.
But you've got the sort of front 2 riders swinging hard left, and then turns out Mads Pedersen, who's up against left-hand barriers,
Yeah.
gets pushed into those barriers, right? Because the riders behind Philipsen and Cavendish see that happening. They also kind of get pushed left, whether they're physically or just because they see the race going that way. And Mads Pedersen ends up crashing. And he did start this morning, but it was a bit
His
kind of
arm
touch and
was
go.
all bandaged up.
He
He did drop off the back a bit at some point. I didn't see exactly what that was because we were in transit. But
He was third in the intermediate sprint, so he's still going for those green jersey points. But he's in trouble. Anyway, Mess is sort of neither here nor there. But we've talked about this so many times on the pod. What we want from the UCI and the jury and the commissaires that make these decisions is a bit of consistency. And today, Philipsen was relegated for putting Wout into the barriers, right? It was no good. It was dangerous.
Yeah.
And maybe the presence of the barriers is what affected that decision. But if you're just looking at what the actual sprinters did, how much they moved, how dangerous it was, Cavendish and Philipsen yesterday were worse than the relegation today.
Counterpoint. The presence of the barriers is always the problem.
Yeah.
So
If there were no
You're
barriers,
saying just extend the Tour de France.
just make it wider.
Yeah.
Just stretch that out.
Can you imagine just like 100-meter wide?
That's a real Trumpian response to a problem, isn't it? Just something completely detached from reality. But when you hear it, you're like, you know what?
Just make the entire sprint
Just the
across
whole
France.
of Dijon is the finish. What about, well, it's not like Philipsen didn't get a warning, because this morning the commissaires went round to, I think, Astana and the Alpecin de Koning buses being like, if that happens again, you will get disqualified.
So that's not breaking news here.
No.
I think Wheeler Flitz reported it as well earlier today. But
We'd
in terms
heard
of
from
podcasts,
various riders.
Yeah,
and
we
stuff.
confirmed this independent reporting that the UCI wandered around this morning and warned all the sprinters and all the sprinter teams not to do that again, which is, again, means that what happened yesterday
was bad.
But
they were never going to take. They were never going to take Cavendish.
They were never going to do it.
If at any point in this tour, I mean, it was obvious before it happened. If Cavendish crosses the line first,
they're not taking it away.
There's more chance of them selling the tour to
Can you imagine
Saudi Arabia than that.
Oh my God! I mean, I would have found it hilarious, but I'm sure that there are other people out there would found it less funny than I would have.
Well, and his family were there on the finish line as well.
They would
have been
crying.
cheering, and then they would have been told.
Yeah. We celebrated that victory yesterday. We celebrated 35. We celebrated Cavendish, the athlete. But
big chapeau.
Big chapeau. Big chapeau.
And
chapeau.
You're doing a bit of anti-chapeau maneuvers with this whole disqualifying.
But I'll put my foot down
Stop the
now
count.
and say that if you were going to be consistent, this is the thing. It's like, I don't actually care whether they get relegated or not. But if you're going to be consistent.
Well, while we're clearing up stuff that happened yesterday, we did speak to Fred Wright this morning.
Yep.
As we're not loath to do that. We enjoy doing that as well.
Yeah, we very much enjoy it.
Because he was behind Tadej Pogacar yesterday when Tadej Pogacar swerved and managed to keep himself upright around the road furniture. But Fred Wright was not so lucky.
He fell down.
He was trying to put a brave spin on it, but I think he was in a bit of pain. So should we listen to him now?
Yeah, let's hear from Fred.
Well, Fred, we saw your tweet yesterday as they were hailing the heroic sort of movement of Tadej Pogacar. There's a little tear smile emoji. So I presume it was you, unfortunately, the Bahrain victorious rider caught up behind that crash. I mean, tell us about it.
Yeah, I was just just an annoying crash, really. I think, the guys in front obviously didn't really point out that there was a bit of road furniture coming up. We were all sort of squeezing to the right side, and it wasn't anyone's fault. I wasn't saying it was Tadej's fault. I think he fair play to for holding it up. I didn't, but I think I got tackled from behind though. I don't think I was, pretty confident that I got through the crash, and the next thing I was on the ground. It was quite a slow one, and I've landed on my wrist, and it's actually pretty fucking sore. So we'll see how today goes. Last night was not the best sleeping with it, so the X-ray didn't really show anything. So we'll see. But I'm gonna check it again in a couple of days. But I was a little bit worried going to the finish yesterday, but I think we're all right. And it was nice seeing Cav win yesterday. That made yesterday a lot better, to be honest.
Well, that's one question. You've covered everything. So no matter how the rest is feeling, mentally, you're sharp as ever.
I don't know. Yeah, maybe mentally I'm alright, but just the test today was just like riding over to the sign-on, and it's a bit sore,
Should we get? Are the shoes new for Ronan? I don't know the answer to that question. Are the shoes new?
The shoe, your shoes new.
Yeah.
Yeah, they came out this year.
Okay.
They're this late model.
Okay.
They're only. Since so far I've had two pairs. One I was wearing in that slippy slide crash in the Dauphiné, so they got completely scuffed. And then yesterday I scuffed this right one.
Wow.
Right on the top. So
it's just the whole top is mesh, huh?
yeah, they're really nice.
Sweet.
They're really comfy.
We'll let you go. I hope you're all right, mate. Maybe we send some chapeaus, Fred, Fred Wright's way.
Chapeau, Fred.
Yeah.
Chapeau.
Well, I guess the context around this as well is while you were chatting with Fred, I was mostly down hanging out with his feet.
Yeah, taking pictures of his feet.
Yeah.
You sick little creep.
Big feet guy. Me. No,
Yeah.
this is actually Ronan.
But you're enabling him.
Ronan's such
Ronan is outsourcing his
Yeah.
feet shots.
Yeah. Ronan was like, I need
Ronan's in
his
Germany
feet.
currently, and it's rubbing off on him. Is that problematic to say?
I think you're fine.
I've said it now.
Yeah, Ronan needed some feet shots, so I just, crouched down through the barriers,
seems fine.
got some feet shots. He's got some, I guess, relatively new Lake shoes that are all mesh on the top. They actually look really
Yeah.
nice.
Super
Yeah.
fascinating.
Yeah.
Can you
Johnny doesn't care at all.
Can you go a little deeper into Fred Wright's feet? Does he have like big hooves?
No, I would say they're
Dainty?
like, if I had to guess, viewed from the outside. Maybe we can confirm this with Fred. Maybe he's.
Well,
a friend
you're
of the
about to
podcast.
say a size that
guess?
I'm not going to be able to relate to because we use different numbers.
No,
Yeah,
I'm gonna-
and we use different numbers, and he uses different numbers.
I'm
Oh
going to use
my
Euro
Lord.
sizing because that's what cycling shoes are in.
Come
Okay,
on, Johnny.
I
Get,
can't-
get with the program.
I'm going to say he's a 44
I don't know Euro.
and a half.
That's
I think-
slightly larger than
I think.
usual.
I think.
No, but he's
U-
a big boy.
Well, let's guess the shoe.
UK size. I reckon he's a 9.5.
Well, that would be a 10.5 US, which is probably the same thing that Kaylee's.
I think it's about roughly the same thing I just
Look
said.
at us, guys. Straight back into it.
I've
The three of us
never-
podcasting seamlessly.
Simpatico. I've never eyeballed Fred Wright's feet. But
We should ask him tomorrow again and really freak him out. Just be like, we want more feet pics.
Can I return to sprinting real quick?
No.
I'm going to.
Yeah.
So we mentioned the disqualification of Jasper Philipsen today. Dylan Groenewegen winning the stage. The Philipsen disqualification means that Biniam Girmay finished second of the day, which means that
More
his
green jersey
lead
points.
in the green jersey competition grew.
Yeah.
He's now got 165 points, which
And he's the sort of rider that doesn't hate a climb, so could do that thing where in the tricky third weeks, gets over the first one, then sprints to sweep up the intermediate sprints. Binny and Green and Nice,
I think it's not a bad shout, actually.
especially
I
now
mean,
Mads Pedersen's got a bit banged up.
Peter Sagan really sort of fundamentally shifted the way that the green jersey is won,
Yeah.
right? And we have seen last year, we saw kind of a return to old school form, which was that Jasper Philipsen won the green jersey. He was a pure sprinter. He did it by winning 4 stages. Sagan always won the green jersey. Yes, he would maybe win a stage here or there, but he would also just take like every single intermediate sprint
Yeah.
point available. Now, Biniam Girmay isn't quite, I think, the sort of versatile rider that Sagan was, but he's not that far off.
He's not
And
far.
he does have a significant lead now in the green jersey competition. He's got 149 points. Peterson has 111 and is
Okay.
injured.
So that's like
Jonas
2 intermediate
Abrahamson
sprints worth.
is really largely irrelevant to this actual conversation. And then Philipsen is 85.
He got docked some today.
He
didn't
got docked. Wow, so we're unclear. He got docked 13 points. It's unclear whether that's just what he gained today and then they took it away or if they actually took that off of him. We're trying to confirm that. But he was docked 500 Swiss francs and 13 points in the green jersey competition. So, that's a pretty sizable
Yeah.
lead. Now, there's 5 sprint stages still to go. There's also lots of intermediate sprints in every other stage. So it's
Yeah.
not a foregone conclusion here that Girmay is going to take it home, but it would be a massive thing, right? We've got the first Eritrean to win a Tour stage already. He would also be the first Eritrean to take a jersey, any of the Tour de France jerseys, all the way to the finish line.
Oh, 'cause
Daniel Tech-Lemonot wore
lost
the
it,
polka
yeah.
dots, but did not win it
Yeah.
at the end in Paris.
Well, Jasper Philipsen will be motivated to not only try and defend his green jersey, but he wants to win a stage, because what will happen if he doesn't win a stage this tour?
The Rudhofts will be even crosser.
Yes, but there's also there's a little wrinkle that the Alpecin-Deceuninck squad have added in. It's on the run sheet, Caley. Yeah, I think you put it there.
Oh, they can't shave.
Yeah, I was about to book you an appointment at the doctor's tomorrow. 'cause-
Excuse me?
Yeah.
So we were going out
you,
of...
you were talking about this with us as well.
Yeah.
What is going on?
So this is a Eurosport. This is I don't know who originally reported this, but I saw it on the Eurosport Instagram page that the Alpecin-Deceuninck team, I don't know about staff, we should ask, the team, they're not going to shave until they win a tour stage. So we're potentially we could see some real scraggly
That is
fellows in the
great.
next couple of weeks.
Who do you think would have the best beard?
They're not very hairy. They're hairy on the heads, but not on the face.
Yeah, well, they're
all
hairy
quite
on the
youthful.
heads because they've got like.
Yeah.
Caffeine
He's-
shampoo.
the hair. I reckon Gianni Vermeersch
You reckon
is
he'll have a good
he could
beard?
have the better. Yeah, I think it just goes boom. You know, it just pops out his face.
So do you think that if he does like a face swap with
Is this name one other Alpecin de Koning rider challenge? Who are you thinking of? What's
Jeffrey
going
Soup.
on?
Jeffrey Soup.
Matthew Van der Poel? No. Jasper Philipsen?
I'm sorry.
Now we're just naming guys again.
Oh, we're going to do it on
This
the
is,
rest
this
day.
is one of our favorite
confidence
things.
German.
Simon Geschke.
Some gesture.
Confidence
That
German. It's like you're on a weird version of University Challenge.
We're going to give
I
that
was
one
up
to you because
very
you just
early.
showed up. You just showed up.
I was up so early. I'm quite
Yeah.
tired.
Not as tired as you usually are, though. When you
You
come
come
from
from
Australia.
Australia. You only came from Norway today.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah.
And you're not ill. I think this is the first time I've ever met you where you haven't been ill.
I'll get there.
our own Ian, our own sickly prince.
Yes. So Ian, maybe that sounds like a little job for you, not to try and be a signing editor in
No,
this,
no,
but
that-
like
Thank
I
you.
saw your eyes light up there when the story was mentioned.
I was very excited about that because as a man that has struggled to grow facial hair in my time,
He says with
A beautiful
exuberant
mustache.
and I've
Yeah.
got nothing.
but try and see me grow a beard. Therein lies the problem.
Yeah. Can I pull it back to the
Fine.
bike race?
Yeah.
Okay, so I just wanted to sort of so we have a corrections corner coming up soon that is extensive. So before we get to that, my sort of last thought after the end of the stage today.
Yeah.
This was the first, no shade on Dylan Groenewegen, but this is sort of the first like non-major story stage we've had the entire race thus
Yeah.
far. Right? We're on stage 6 already.
Yep.
5 stages where like crazy stuff has happened, every single one. I just wanted to sort of take a small moment to, I guess, reflect and appreciate on the start of the tour, which has been incredible this year.
It's been great. Like the fact that we yesterday and then today up until like 3 were kind of struggling. Like it felt like stage 10, 11 because so much has happened. There's been so many stories covered. Like usually you have like an easy. The tour was always you get to stage 6, 7, and nothing would have happened.
Yep.
And you still be like pondering the same questions of like which GC guy was in better shape, and it'd just be sprint off sprint off sprint. It's so much better that the tour have figured out how to do these stages. Yeah, great tour.
Great tour.
I think we're going to enter a bit of a dip now, and I think people on Twitter are going to get a bit annoyed because the constant dopamine hit is going to leave them, and they're going to have to,
Yep.
go outside.
Well, tomorrow's the time trial. We will preview the time trial slightly, I think, later in the show. But before we get to that, we do need to do a corrections corner here.
Yeah, I want to actually apologise because I feel like factually I've been absolutely all over the place so far this tour, and I'm going to buck up my ideas, and I'm going to return to not just being silly. I'm going to try and have journalistic integrity.
Oh.
That's my solemn promise.
Oh, my.
Yeah.
All right. So specifically,
Yeah.
we thought that Brian Coquard had bunny
No.
hopped Mets Peterson
It was not.
yesterday, and it wasn't. It was Alex Zingel.
Is it Alex or Axel Zingel?
Axel Zingel, sorry.
I just saved you
corner
there.
inside the corrections corner. Jesus. Axel
Yeah.
Zingel.
Yeah, Axel Zingel. Yeah, great bunny hop.
Amazing. And
He was getting interviewed about it this morning.
The Zingel erasure on yesterday's podcast was completely
Beyond the
unacceptable.
pale.
Beyond the pale, completely.
What's the other one? I described Tadej Pogacar as a spendthrift when I didn't mean that.
Yeah,
I meant he's thrifty.
Yeah, spendthrift means they spend a lot.
Yeah.
And Tadej Pogacar, the multi-millionaire.
Yeah.
Spendthrift means that you spend a lot.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
a person who spends money in an extravagant, irresponsible way. So that is not Tadej Pogacar.
No,
Tadej
he's the
Pogacar
opposite.
gets a
He's
free
Pennywise.
haircut.
Pennywise Pog.
Yeah, tight.
Yeah. Tight bastard.
Although, in the confines of the Tour de France, you'd be foolish not to cop a gratis haircut.
He went. So you clearly haven't listened to last night's
I have
episode.
listened.
Oh, you have
excuse
listened.
me. What else was I going to do whilst I was fucking flying over from Norway?
So
Sitting
yeah,
around.
he got his free Alpecin haircut.
He got a free Alpecin haircut. I want a free Alpecin haircut.
I think you might be able to arrange one, but you will have to be interviewed by the Wheeler Flits boys.
Yep.
I don't want to be interviewed by
I
the
think
Wheeler
you
Fit-
could sell it to them them interviewing you about your run-ins with David Lepartin, and that would be quite fun to read on the Wheel of Flips website.
That would be hilarious.
I think we could sell it to them.
Is it a little quid pro quo because I have some greys that I want to get rid of?
Well, Alpecin
And that'd be
has
perfect
a
for
product
grey
you.
attack.
The grey attack.
Well, I don't know if I want to attack my greys. I just want to remove them in a way that is more dignified than plucking them out of my scalp.
Is this your Willy Wonka moment where you're looking to find an heir to your chocolate factory of weird internet content?
I thought that where you were going with that was that I was hobbling along with a cane and then I
can
suddenly
do
do
forward
a
roll.
forward roll and then ta-da.
I mean, I wouldn't say no to that.
Can I bring us back with an announcement?
Yeah.
There are Mayo Sabla t-shirts available on
Yes.
our website. If you head to the homepage and there's like 3 little lines in the top right, we call it the hamburger menu because it looks like kind of like a hamburger. If you click on that, you can go to the merch. Yeah, and then you can buy one of these. You can buy a t-shirt.
Yeah, Jared designed them all. They look great.
Yep. It's got the Mayo Sabla like what do they call them?
Hourglass.
Hourglass. Thank you.
I mean, yeah, you've got to wear clothes, don't you? There we go. There's that advert.
Actually, there is a.
what do you mean,
a-
actually?
I mean, you have to wear clothes. But I would also say that there's a nice bonus with this particular T-shirt because it is an oversized tee.
Yes.
And traditionally, our T-shirts in the Escape
Yes, which is
Collective
why I
merch
don't wear
store-
them because I'm a regular sized human
Johnny.
being.
I know, Johnny. This is one for you.
Yes.
It's a not body shaming you.
Well,
Just saying fashion. Fashion
Yes.
is that sometimes people want to wear a baggier tee, and this is an oversized tee, and this one is for you.
it is for
If
me.
you want a
good
T-shirt
stuff.
that is oversized and has 3 hourglasses in the color of the French flag and says escape on it.
Yeah.
Well, should we have a Mayo Sablet update while we're at it?
Yep.
Let me scroll down the general classification as I'm watched doing this by the people next to us,
You're
which
being
makes it much
closely
easier.
watched by.
Well, good news is it's still Magnus Court, so I don't have to go and interview a new Mayo Sablet tomorrow. Although that could be
Congratulations,
fun.
Magnus Court. It'll definitely change tomorrow with
Sean
Sound Trial.
Quinn is breathing down Magnus
Oh,
Court's
really?
neck.
That would
Yeah.
be fun. And today was Sean Quinn's big day.
Yeah.
He's the current U.S. national champion. Today was the 4th of July. He got a brand new bike.
Matteo Jorgensen had Stars and Stripes sunglasses
Really
on.
incredible U.S. flag, American flag.
Imagine
Oakleys.
the love and care that some Dutch person made that with. I know Oakley's already been
Did
shipped over,
notice
wouldn't they,
that
by Oakley?
he had appeared to have clipped or cut the back of the arms off.
Oh, no pudding for us then.
They need
No.
the table.
Yep, I think we're off.
We are getting hustled.
Should we take a quick break and then finish off the pod?
Yes, we'll be right back. Welcome back, everybody. We are now in. Well, Johnny, you feel right at home.
I would, because we are sat outside a bar called Le Brighton.
Which is a town in England.
It has
On the beach, I believe?
Pub Brighton Dijon. Yes, right in the south coast.
Their football team has a seagull on it.
It is the Seagull. They're called the Seagulls, Brighton and Hove Albion. What else? I've cycled there once from London. It took me ages.
Ooh.
The hills are right at the end.
Ooh.
Decent place.
Can I return to an earlier discussion just really quickly because there's been
Yes.
some chat on the comment section of the story that I wrote. So I want to return to the Cav thing.
Okay.
I said quite boldly at the beginning of the show that sort of by today's definition he should have been relegated.
Yeah.
I think there's a little bit more nuance to it, which is that today Philipsen forced Wout van Aert to like grab a fistful of brake, basically.
Yeah.
He forced Wout to make a decision between potentially crashing and sort of saving himself. This sort of the one thing going in Cav's favor and Philipsen's favor yesterday is that they were kind of far enough ahead that like they didn't sort of directly sort of come in contact with anybody
Yeah.
or like directly impede anybody.
Yeah.
But I do think, I mean, my rough sort of assessment of it remains the same, which is that like Cav took a quick glance to the left. That doesn't really absolve him because you could equally argue that the glance to the left told him that there were a bunch of riders over there that he needed to get in front of so they couldn't pass him, right? And you can impede people without running into them. You can impede people by just being in front of them. And so, he did start. He started on the right-hand side. He started on the right-hand barriers and ended at the left-hand barriers. If that's not a deviation, I'm not really sure what is. And I sort of stand by my assessment of it. I think it would be a damn shame and a horrible shame to have taken that win away from him. I think it would have.
Are you saying that sarcastic? Like,
No,
I think
I'm
it would have been a shame.
No, I'm genuinely not. I think it would have pulled the air out of the Tour de France yesterday. And I like good stories, and I liked covering yesterday's. It was a historic win, right?
Yeah.
I think it would have been bad for the race. I think it would have been bad for Cav, bad for us, bad for fans, bad for everybody. It was the right call not to relegate him yesterday. But if you sort of take the actual letter of the law, he should have been.
Well,
and generally, I basically, my argument, I think that the UCI, the jury, feels the same way I do. They probably looked at it and said, that's a little bit wrong.
But then ASO
because that's why they wandered around this morning at the Tour saying to all the other teams, don't do it again, right?
Yeah.
Like, they clearly didn't see what Philipsen and Cav did yesterday as a good thing and as a legal thing. But they made the same call that I would have made, which is like, it's better for the race, and nobody got hurt, and, no harm, no foul.
I think you stayed just on the right side of Cav slander there, outside of Le Brighton. Maybe it's an offence that could get you locked up in the Tower of London, but we'll let it slide.
There we go. That's my final thoughts on that.
You've got a note in the show notes, Caley, talking about Horsham, Pennsylvania.
Oh, yeah. So we have been taking questions, comments from listeners.
At escapecollective.com/hello.
That is correct.
Yeah.
And there's a pile of them in there now. There's some really great ones. But there's one, and the reason I mention this is so somebody sent one in who lives in Horsham, Pennsylvania. The only reason this stuck out to me is that my dad grew up in Hatboro, which I think is right next door. I think he went to Hatboro Horsham High School.
Huh?
So I have some family history in this
So
area.
you're thinking this guy could be your dad?
Could be my dad. No, I mentioned it because I wanted to specifically call this out in the pod. The voice note you left, whoever it was, because there's also no name in it, I don't think. You from Horsham, Pennsylvania. It cuts off halfway. Like halfway through the question. So we can't tell what the question is. So whoever it is that sent that, please send it again. That's the only reason I have that in the notes.
I'm your real father, Caley.
It's already stage 7, and we start in Nuit Saint-Georges. Wikipedia tells me there are 80 place names in France named after St. George. So, who was he? Well, English readers will probably know St. George because he's the patron saint of England and as Jordi of Catalonia. That is the martyr who was canonized in the Catholic Church. Most of the stories about George are legends, including the one with a famous dragon. However, there are more saints named George. If you buy an old-fashioned French agenda, a paper one, it often still has the name days in it, and every day is dedicated to one specific saint to venerate on that day. And people named after that saint also have a special day on that day. It's like an extra birthday, or it is actually your birthday if your parents named you after the saint of that day, which was the custom in many parts of France. Up until 1993, France had a mandated list of first names. And that law stemmed from 1803 and was installed by Napoleon Bonaparte. He decreed that French babies should have French names, which mostly meant the names of the saints of the Catholic Church. Napoleon himself wasn't named after a saint in the Catholic Church, but he wanted a patron saint to enable him to celebrate his name day. So the cardinal of the day came up with Neopolis, a 3rd century Roman martyr who had resisted Emperor Maximianus. That saint, whose very existence is very doubtful, was then declared to be Saint Napoleon. Back to the French names. The list of name options expanded when in 1993 parents received the rights to choose any name for their child, but French officials retain the power to reject a name if they decide it goes against the best interest of the child. Some names that have been rejected include Nutella. She was to be renamed Ella. A couple in Perpignan wanted to name their son Mini Cooper. The judge ruled that it would cause the child, quite likely so, a lifetime of mockery. And in Brittany, a couple clearly fond of boats wanted to name their kids Bâbord and Triport, which, you guessed it, is port and starboard. In 1999, a judge, however, decided that the Renault family were allowed to call their daughter Mégane Renault, while the car model is a Renault Mégane. Our Finnish town of Chevry-Chambertin is the home to 9 of the 33 Burgundy Grand Cru AOC. We're talking wine here. And Chevry-Chambertin lies in the far north of the Côte des Nuits wine region. And this wine area incorporates exclusively red grapes called Pinot Noir. It is said that Burgundy's first vines were planted here in the 1st century BC. The wines that are produced here can be drunk very young, but are well suited to be stacked away to age. The older the wine, the more exclusive the Grand Cru, the smaller the production, the higher the price. I found bottles up to 12,000 euros on the wine investing website, because people also invest in wine. For all I know, they could just drink it and watch the riders suffer in their time trials today. Cheers, everyone. It is, after all, Friday.
Before we get into After Dark, Ian's first time this year in After Dark.
Yeah, I'm excited. I've never been After Dark before.
It's great. I think on this historic day,
Yeah.
we should end with a musical interlude.
Ooh.
And the land of the free and the home of the brave.
Beautiful.
We're back.
Thank you, boys.
We're back.
I appreciate you.